Introduce yourself and give your DOC number.
My name is Patrick Fernando Penagor, DOC number 469323.
Good morning, Mr. Pendergar.
Good morning, sir.
Good. You're here this morning for a revocation hearing. Do you have a revocation questionnaire in front of you? Yes.
Yes,
Is that your signature at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Is all the information on that questionnaire correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Pendergar, did you have an attorney at your preliminary hearing?
No, sir.
Did you request an attorney at this hearing?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Pendergar, you're here because you've been accused of violating your parole supervision. I'm going to read the charges, and you have the option to plead guilty, guilty with a statement, not guilty, and not guilty with a statement. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The parole board is conducting this revocation hearing because you have been accused of violating the following conditions. Condition number 4, you engaged in criminal conduct that led to your arrest on December 14th, 2019 in Sabine Parish, by the Sabine Parish Sheriff's Office for the offenses of domestic abuse on a dating partner in entry or remaining after being forbidden. You were billed with domestic abuse battery under the Domestic Abuse Violence Act. Pregnancy. On October 27, 2020, you were found guilty in a bench trial of domestic abuse battery and was sentenced to 6 months in the parish jail. You also found guilty of remanding after forbidden, and you were sentenced to an additional 6 months to run consecutive with the other 6 months. You also pled guilty to simple battery for an offense that occurred while you were incarcerated. How do you plead?
Not guilty. Not guilty with a statement on the domestic dispute. And I plead guilty with a statement on the simple battery.
Even though you were found guilty by a judge of domestic abuse, you're going to plead not guilty. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. And the reason
Sir, you can make your statement after I read all the charges.
Yes, sir.
And you plead guilty to the simple battery while incarcerated?
Yes, sir. I plead guilty with a statement on the simple battery when incarcerated.
Okay, thank you. Condition number 10, you have not made payments towards your supervision fee, and you're currently $1,764 in arrears. How do you plead?
Guilty with a statement.
Thank you. Would you please make your statement on condition number 4, dealing with the domestic abuse battery on a dating partner?
How you guys doing this morning? I've been incarcerated since December of 2019, and I'm assuming I was in a 3/4 house in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Sir, speak to the charge of domestic abuse on a dating partner.
Okay. I had a written affidavit that was granted by the courts, and you guys should have got a email by it. well, it clearly stated that, you know, she said that none of it happened. Only reason she called the police department was because I was going back to Shreveport to rehab, and she said none of it actually happened. That's why
Okay.
I never
Was that affidavit available at the time of your bench trial?
Yes, sir. But we was on the impression that if we got to drop to a drop, I was on the impression that if we got to drop from a felony to a misdemeanor, but I wasn't aware of that. I should have just went on all the way with it and just got it. But it was granted through the state of Louisiana commission for commission, and this was 5/20 of 2020, and my trial date took place of November of 2020, and I have a copy of it. And you guys should have got an email.
Patrick, are you aware a conviction for a violent misdemeanor, even though you think it's a felony, I think it's a misdemeanor, but pleading or being found guilty of a violent misdemeanor is an irrevocable offense?
See, I had no knowledge. I knew that on the.
I'm just stating the fact.
Yes, sir. But on the affidavit, this, and she got on stand and testified before the judge and said that none of this happened. It was just only to be restrained, removed from resident. There was no physical. I was in a halfway house on the home pass, like doing good, working and everything. So only reason she called because I had to go back that Sunday, and she just wanted me removed. Like, and on the affidavit said nothing, no physical. That was not because of a physical fight or abuse, but to end relationship without conflict. And the remaining after being forbidden was because I wasn't on a lease, which I was in a 3/4 house, halfway house.
And with that affidavit, the judge still found you guilty.
Only because I didn't go the extent with it. I was under the impression that if I got to drop from felony to misdemeanor, I had no knowledge of it.
Okay. Okay. Now that your statement about pleading guilty to simple battery while you're incarcerated.
It was a guy that was in our jail who had 11 prior cases by the name of Germany Thomas, and he's been booked in and charged with those. So at that time, he was, excuse my language, I knew we had women on the panel, but during that time, Jermaine Thomas he got 11 counts of prior, 2 counts of forcible. So he was doing shower games. So I take full responsibility. I'm not justifying or protecting my manhood. I'm not. But like I say, respectable panel, I have a job waiting on me. You guys should have emails. I have a state official by the name of Ashley Foster, where I've attended 14 weeks of narcotics classes, and I'm waiting to go to a cater rehab in Shreveport. I mean, to be honest, I'm not justifying anything on the panel, but can you please find some leniency in your heart that I've been in jail 15 months, and the affidavit was in court saying that none of this happened. It was all because I was actually doing good for myself. But the arrears that I'm in arrears for, I can't justify that because I was in a halfway house. Like, I went on my own will. And like I said, I'm not asking to be released today. But what I would ask is the only way I can go back to this halfway house if the panel, take some leniency with me. And I was doing good for one time in my life on panel. And, it was like I say, she wrote an affidavit for me and sending you guys an email. And I have a state official who's on my side by the name of Ashley Foster. And I have a job resume that was sent to you guys email saying I have a job that's waiting for me. And just
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Mrs. Renas.
I have no. Well, I do. Tell me about the halfway house.
Okay, I was in the cater program in Shreveport.
Okay.
Okay, I came in on a home pass, and like I said, Miss Ashley Foster, Miss LaDonna, Miss Susan Whitlow. So I came home on a home pass out of cater in Shreveport, and I've been taking their classes again right here. I'm 14 classes in.
What classes? Tell me.
I've taken choices. I've taken respect. I've taken chapel. I've taken 12 steps. I've taken goals, and my last one I've taken was before I came up here was failures. And I'm 14 weeks in, and the state official is state by Ashley Foster, who works for the state. And she's supposed to download the app to be in my meeting today. But like I said, I've been doing great. 14 weeks in, no conduct in jail. I have an affidavit, and the alleged victim who caused a stand.
Well, I get that. We have the affidavit, but you know, I'm going with what the judge said. But I was interested in knowing about the halfway house and what kind of program that was. What's the duration of the program? Were you working?
Yeah, it's a program to where I walked in on my own, but it's in Shreveport.
I understand.
It's in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I have a bed available right now. The only reason I hadn't gone, I've been screened and everything in Sabine Parish by Ashley Foster. The only reason that I'm not in the bed today, and
it's because you're here.
It's because I'm here, and
I get it.
They was waiting to see
what happened today.
What happened, and I know that I'm 14 months in. If I can just I don't have no problem going back under my stipulations. I know I may have to do like another 2 months if violated. But
all right, I don't have any other questions, Patrick. Thank you,
Mrs. Wise.
Young man, was the victim pregnant at the time?
No, ma'am. She came back 11 weeks later. She came back 11 weeks later and took a pregnancy test. So they upgraded the charge, but then she come back to the district attorney and said none of it happened. She didn't want me to go back to the rehab on my home pass, on a home pass for weekend.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote a statement, said none of this happened. She just wanted
we got that. So your answer is no, she was not pregnant at the time.
No, ma'am.
She recanted that as well.
Yes, ma'am, which is right here.
Well, it's not written in my letter that she recanted about being pregnant. I didn't know.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I have it right here.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you, young man.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Wise.
Patrick, would you like to make a brief closing statement?
I asked the honorable panel, I'm not justifying anything, but I am justifying I'm not guilty in this situation, being that I understand how the court procedure works, but I just asked the panel just have some leniency with me, being that I've been incarcerated 15 months, and please reinstate me under some stipulation that I immediately go turn myself into the cater program and do a long term, which is 4 months. And I have a job waiting on me for Rivers Building Supplies. But if I was to be released today, I'll be a productive citizen tomorrow. I'll be forklift driving, working in the wood lumber. And he also stated in the email that you guys should have that this job will require weekly drug screenings and be submitted to my parole office. And for one time in my life, I'm asking the panel, like I've done good deeds. I'm just asking you guys to please have some type of leniency, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Is the panel ready to vote? Patrick, your case was assigned to me based upon your guilty verdict by a trial judge on one violent misdemeanor, and you're pleading guilty to the second violent misdemeanor. You are in violation of condition number 4 of your parole supervision. Therefore, my decision is to revoke your supervision. Mrs. Renaza.
Yours is a difficult case, Patrick, but my vote today would be do not revoke, with the added special condition that you do report to and complete the long-term program at the Decatur program in Shreveport, with an added special condition that you have no contact with Shannon.
Thank you.
Patrick, it is a difficult case, and you are a fourth offender. You've been on supervision before, many times, and you know your conduct should be such that the police don't have to be called, because you know better than anybody, when the police gets called, it goes south.
Yep.
You got to calm down. You got to step back. It's her house. You leaving Sunday anyway, going back. You're in a program learning how to deal with those kind of situations, and you did. That's concerning for me. That really is. My vote is to revoke because of your guilty plea to the charges, to the crime of violence charges. Best wishes to you.
Patrick, you have received 1 vote, do not revoke, and 2 votes to revoke. Therefore, your supervision has been revoked. You have a good day.
Do you know how like, what's the term? How long I?
Sir, you check with your classification officer, and he or she can give you that information.
Ms. Wise, can I speak to you for a second?
Yes, sir.
When I
Quickly.
Yes, ma'am. The reason, Ms. Wise, see, I was leaving out that day to go back, and see, she didn't want me to leave. So that's what she placed. I was doing everything right, you know, going to work in a halfway house. So she didn't want me to leave. It wasn't. So she didn't want me to.
Sir.
Okay. All right. I hear you.
The hearing is over. Is this the only case that we have at Richland, staff?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We can close.
Okay. This completes our business at Richland Detention Center. Time is 9:50.
Well, you might be surprised or you might not be surprised at all, but in this time, this hearing took place 2/23/2021. Eventually, he was released, probably on good time, and yesterday, October 24th, 2023, he was arrested for pretty much doing the same exact thing. Richard pointed this out. He said, "Mandu, check out this hearing because he's just been rearrested." And I'm assuming he wasn't on parole. I don't know why I'm assuming that. Maybe he was, and we'll see a revocation hearing in the next few months. Sometimes they happen right away. Sometimes they can happen almost a year later. But this is it. He was arrested on the same charges pretty much. And now he's on battery, false imprisonment, and he remains in jail. If he does have a revocation hearing for any reason, we will cover it here. But man, that was interesting at the end how he said, Miss Wise, can I don't know why he felt comfortable talking to point it to Miss Wise. But that's what he did, and she said, okay. But then, of course, rushed him up, but he was still trying to defend himself. He's like, well, it's not my fault. She wanted me there. And it's like, dude, this isn't your... it's just, it's something I can never really understand. It's like he's now arrested again. So he does the crime, he pleads guilty, then he has a revocation hearing for, domestic type crime. She shows up and says she lied about the crime and lied about being pregnant. And they revoke him, and then he gets out and he basically does the same thing. It's just like this pattern, which I think it's hard for anyone to really understand. Well, it's hard for me to understand. It's worth it enough to rage and physically harm someone, knowing that you're going to then have to spend all this time locked up. Like how is that? How is the reward worth your rage at that time? And there's no self-control at all. And it's like if that punishment of being locked up isn't enough to stop you from, terrorizing the person you're supposed to love. How do you solve those problems? Cage your rage, thinking for a change. What other programs am I missing? Maybe he needs some of those programs. Maybe a lengthy sentence actually would be something that would help him. And these, no. But anyways, with that, thank you, Richard, again. And with that, we'll probably do another hearing, right?
One offender. Good time date of October the 23rd of 2022, full term date, January 22nd of 2036. Currently in prison on 2 possession of cocaine charges, serving 20 years in prison. He was interviewed by Ms. Pearl Wise. She will be giving us a report in just a few moments. We have a person who wants to speak, I believe his sister, Ms. Burnett, who wants to speak in support of his parole effort. Ms. LaShonda Burnett, if you'll unmute your mic, please, and tell us who you are and tell us what you'd like to tell us about your brother. You're still on mute. There
Okay.
you go.
Good morning. I'm LaShonda Burnett. I am the sister of Alan Whitehead. And this morning I come as a support for him. I want the board to know that Alan has a strong support system and we're here to help him turn his life around. We have several positive maps planned out for him as far as getting him on the straight and narrow path, as far as obtaining employment, housing, relationship with his son, building back his bond with the church. We are also committed to helping him in any type of way as far as transportation needs until he's able to obtain his own driver's license again. We are here to whatever steps that's needed right now to take all those negative behavior and turn them positive. We are very committed to helping him out this time around because there's a lot, especially with COVID going on, that he has missed with family members passing away due to COVID. We all miss him very much. We just want to show our love and support to say, hey, you can do this. We got this as a team, that you don't have to enter back out here by yourself. We can all take baby steps to get where we need to go and just, believe and trust God that he will lead the pathway for us and just make this a very positive experience this time around so that he don't keep going around in circles back into the situation that he's in now.
Ms. Burnett, thank you very much. He's very fortunate to have your support as his sister. So thank you for being here today. Ms. Wise, you interviewed Mr. Whitehead?
That's correct.
Okay.
He's housed at LaSalle Correctional Center. According to Lieutenant McFarland, he did not have any writers at that facility. There was some aliases, and he told me that his true name is the Whitehead name. He said he's been in jail since 1/22 of 2016 because he was in Mississippi. Then he was transferred back to Louisiana 12/20 of 2016. And he said that both of his times are running. He got both of his courts gave him credit for time served since 1/22 of 16. He has served a total of 5 years. As you can see, I interviewed him on a different day, just what was going on. He also said that his date of birth, what we have in our records, is incorrect. And we kind of laughed about how he had given some false information, and that's how all this came about. So he's actually 34 years of old age instead of 32. When I asked him, he estimated that he had spent about 7 years of his 34 years in jail. He recalled that he was scheduled for a hearing in December that got continued because of COVID. I asked him about the victimization of his drug dealing offenses, And what is his reflection on that? And he echoed what his sister said, that he didn't realize that he was a bigger value to my family and children. Is that he will not let drugs stop him from being with his family again. He has a low Tiger score. He denied any revocations. He has 120 days of good time, and he lost 30. He said prior to COVID, he was enrolled in parenting and anger management. He did not get to complete. He's a high school graduate, a class of 2005 of Gulfport High School. As to his substance abuse, he said he first took a drink at probably the age 18. He said he was never not really a drinker. He started using marijuana at age 17 of 18 and said he was an everyday user until he went to jail in 2006 to 2008. And then he did no drugs. He said now he just smokes cigarettes. He denied ever even experimenting with cocaine or any other drugs. Now you can see his programs there. He has had some good programs to include reentry, anger management, and others. He denied having any physical problems. He's not on any medication. He denied having any mental health concerns. He doesn't have a job right now at the prison. He said he was working on his welding certification, and on moving heavy equipment. He has certification in welding, and he was working on a certification in moving heavy equipment before COVID, and he has some lawn care skills. I encourage him to take inventory of his skills and look at what he can do in the COVID-19 economy. He reports that he has a job with Southern Comfort out of Zachary, Louisiana, welding with Mr. Carlos. He said he didn't bring the telephone number with him for the interview. But I mentioned his residence plan, as indicated in the PPI, was in Mississippi, and the job is in Louisiana. He estimated it's about a 1 hour and 20-minute commute, and he thinks he can do that. Noted he was in transitional work from 4 of 19 to 12 of 19. He reports the loss of 30 days of good time due to having a cell phone. He said that there were other write-ups that he didn't get found guilty on. We talked about public and law enforcement comments. I told him that his judge was unopposed, but DA and the sheriff's office strongly opposed. And with the sheriff's office stating that he served 3 of 10 years for office with the firearm. And then while he had stated again, he's been in jail since 1/22 of 16. His residence plan is with his mother in Gulfport, Mississippi. He said it will be just those two in the home. I asked him about what kind of family support you have. He said he expects his family to attend the hearing, but he didn't have the letters at the interview. His girlfriend is going to be of support, who is the mother of his 3 children, ages 11, 10, and 7. His 3 sisters, mother and a grandmother. That's the kind of support he would have. He also mentioned community support with Pastor Bishop Willie Williams. He remembered his number by heart, and he said that he's going to be engaged in pastoral counseling. And he said the pastors even told him that a lot of people really look up to him and asked him to become a more active member in the church, like his sister had said. And that he said that he is convinced that people will follow him, and he needs to start going in the right direction. About transportation, he said he got a car. He says he knows he will have to renew his driver's license. I asked about his goals. 1 year, he want to be working, getting stable with my children, and day-to-day events with his children. In 5 years, he want to be buying a home and doing normal stuff. So he said normal stuff is big to him. Have a stable life and be in his children's lives. We talked about barriers, and he said that you never know. Stay focused and stick to my plan. He said, I know a good side, I know the bad side, and I have to stay focused. He said, if a problem do come my way, I have sense and knowledge to know the right thing, to know right from wrong. His plan for success, he said, I feel like it'll be a good decision to release me. His family needs me before, He said, before he reiterated before, I did not know my value and worth to my family. And he's learned it now. He's realized that, and that's very important to him. That's my overview of the interview.
Any questions, Ms. Renatza? Comments?
So he has not done any substance abuse.
He's done. No, he has not. He has
Yeah. And did you indicate he said he didn't have a substance abuse issue? I think, did you say that?
Right. He said that he smoked marijuana in his teens until he went to jail in 2006, and he stopped using. He was dealing.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions I have. Thank you. Very good report.
I don't have any questions at all. Ms. Wise, do you have a recommendation for us?
Yes, I was very impressed with his attitude. I was very impressed with the way he conducted himself in the interview, and he was truly in awe of how he realized now that his family really does appreciate him. That means a lot to him. But however, at this time, my vote is denied because of insufficient time served from that 20-year sentence and the law enforcement opposition that had been expressed, and his overall criminal history. And I believe he could benefit from more programs. He got kicked out of work release, and that's concerning to me. I urge him to write back as soon as he's eligible for a rehearing, which, you know.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wise. Ms. Renatza?
I concur. I think he can benefit from more programs, and the law enforcement opposition was pretty strong because of the insufficient time served. So my vote today also is to deny, and I encourage you to write back.
Thank you very much. My vote, I agree with my colleagues. I would also vote to deny. He has 3 votes to deny today. Ms. Burnett, I hope you continue to support him. If he continues to work well and do well in prison, perhaps the next time he'll be getting out. So thank you very much for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe you're confused by that. So this hearing took place in 2021, and because of COVID, many of the hearings were constructed in that way, where there was just an interview and then they came back. Now, fast forward to October 24th, 2023, here he is for revocation hearings. That means he had eventually gotten paroled. Now he's back for revocation. And I just want to point out, if you realize that he had a 20-year sentence, 20-year sentence for a possession charge. Think about that. Think about that.
Ms. Pearl Wise. I'm going to ask our support staff located here at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, speak up real loud.
Good morning. My name is Alan Whitehead.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehead. Would the staff there please introduce themselves?
Corporal Jonathan Lott.
Thank you very much. Mr. Whitehead, would you please give me your full name and DOC number?
Alan Christian Whitehead, 724-514.
Mr. Whitehead, this is a parole revocation hearing today. I want to explain our process to you. First, I'm going to cover with you your parole revocation questionnaire. Then I'm going to advise you of what the allegations are that you have violated your probation. I'm going to ask you to plead either guilty or not guilty to those. Then we'll have a hearing. You'll have an opportunity to vote. You'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say before the panel votes. Do you understand our procedure?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Whitehead, would you take a look at that questionnaire? Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature at the bottom of the page?
Yes, sir.
And all of those answers, were they all answered correctly on October the 5th of 2023?
Yes, sir.
Are they all accurate today?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to proceed with our hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to read the allegations. The first allegation is violation of rule number 2. You failed to report to your parole officer as directed An appointment later was mailed for an office visit on September the 1st of 2023 at 8 a.m. in which you failed to report. How do you plead to that?
I plead guilty, but I plead guilty, but like,
All right, let me explain something, Mr. Whitehead. The pleas are guilty with a statement, not guilty, or not guilty with a statement. So you wish to plead guilty and make a statement at some point?
yes, sir.
Okay. The next allegation is number 3, you failed to provide your parole agent with any and all updated contact information. Therefore, your whereabouts were unknown until your arrest in Mississippi. You were never given written permission to leave the state under any circumstances. How do you plead to that?
Guilty.
You engaged in criminal activity as evidenced by your arrest on or about September the 5th of 2023 by the Biloxi Police Department for domestic abuse battery. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty.
Okay. It's my understanding at your hearing, you pled guilty to the fact that you were in fact arrested, but you plead not guilty to the fact that you were guilty of domestic abuse battery. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You have been unemployed and employable, but failed to work to seek employment for over 180 days. How do you plead to that?
Guilty.
Your parole officer asked for an updated address and phone number. Then you failed to promptly answer questions by hanging up and ending the call. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. You failed to pay your monthly supervision fees and are currently in arrears of $908. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
Why don't you go ahead and give me your statement about any of the allegations you wish. Let's first of all talk about your failing to report. You said you plead guilty with a statement. What's your statement?
All right. So when I first started reporting, I was going to the office every month, and the parole officer was like, "You don't have to come up here. We could set an appointment or do a Zoom." So from that day forward, I talked to the PO every single month except for September. You know, it was never not no contact. Like as far as me coming to the building, I stopped coming because they switched my parole officer 3 times.
How'd you end up in Mississippi?
I ended up in Mississippi, going back and forth, dealing with my children, like CPS. I got documentation of it. Like DHS was coming trying to take my son, my mama old.
Did you notify your parole officer that you were going to Mississippi?
No, ma'am, no, sir, because like at the same time, I'm not making no excuses, nothing. I'm taking full responsibility. Like I didn't have an address anymore because me and my brother, we got kicked out the house from his old lady with gambling. She ain't like how we were gambling and doing things like that. So I didn't have an address. So I was really trying to weed my way out because I know one thing, if you don't have an address, you'll come back.
Why didn't you contact your parole officer and let them know what you were doing?
Really scared, not knowing how anything works, sir, to be honest.
All right, well, tell me about your arrest on September the 5th of 2023. What happened then?
Okay, I got pulled over or whatever, and I was dealing with a female or whatever. She was staying with us over here in Slidell. And then when everything got rocky with us, she even told me, like, if you're not gonna be with me, I'm gonna make sure you die or go to jail. You know, so it was all type of things. I had let them know that she was threatening me and all type of things like that, you know. So that's really all the way not true at all. That's just like a woman just being spiteful. That's not.
So this is your ex-girlfriend who had a tear on her collar and bruises on the left side of her face. She was running towards a witness, screaming for help. The victim stated her ex-boyfriend, Alan Whitehead, kicked in her back door. She ran and he caught her by the collar and dragged her into the vehicle. The defendant began to drive away and she was able to get out of the vehicle and ran where she called for help. Do you deny all of that?
Not true at all. Nobody's saying that. She's saying that, man, sir. That's not true at all. That's not true at all.
You were in Mississippi when you were not supposed to be there. You pled guilty to simple battery. Why?
No, I didn't. I never been to court on that. I never pled guilty to that.
Okay.
And then when I got pulled over, that was my first time having knowledge of it. I never had a warrant for it or nothing. That was my first time having knowledge of it, September the 5th. I don't know when she pressed the charges or whatever, but that was my first time having knowledge of it. I never been
So had you been in contact with your parole officer, you would have known all about these things, and you probably might not be sitting there today if what you're saying is true.
Yes, sir.
So what do you have to say about that?
Like I would talk to my parole officer every single month except for September. That's the only time I haven't talked to my PO officer. I talk to her every single month.
Were you working?
Sir?
Were you working?
I was doing labor ready, and then I was working with DR London.
Okay. You were saying you talk to your PO every month, so you didn't tell her your serious life situation when you talked to her. You didn't say, we got put out of our house, I'm looking for a place to stay. You didn't talk to her about that. You just didn't talk. So what did y'all talk about? You talked to her every single month.
She told me, she was telling me like the last time I talked to her, I did tell her that I was staying with another friend or whatever, and she was like, "What's the?"
But again, going back. The purpose of contacting your PO every month is keep your PO abreast as to your life situations. The day you got put out, that's when you should have told the PO, I got put out. I don't know where I'm living right now, but my phone is still working. I'll stay in contact with you while I figure it out. Your PO was informed.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
PO was informed that my children in Mississippi going to CPS, I'm worried, what can I do?
Yes,
And you and your PO can figure out what to do.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what your PO is for, to discuss your life situations. That's the point of maintaining contact with your PO.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
hide the information that the PO needs in order to help you. Stay out of jail.
Yes, ma'am. And then
Please see that. If you don't see nothing else, please see that.
you're right, ma'am. And at the end of the day,
There's no address the PO can write down. He doesn't have an address right now. That's it. But you stay in contact.
yes, ma'am.
That's all you can do. Well, I mean, and then there are some resources to help you get an appointment. I don't know if you qualify for that program. We didn't get a chance to assess you for that program because you didn't ask.
Yes,
We don't
ma'am.
know if you qualify for a transfer to Mississippi. We don't know because you didn't ask.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you need to know.
And yes, ma'am.
And that's all I just wonder what y'all talked about. You talk to them every month. That's all I had, Jim.
Thank you.
And then it's like I wasn't doing anything of this, like to be mischievous or whatever.
But you never, but you didn't inform your officer. There were no new arrest, but there was a new arrest. There was a new arrest. So what's the court date on the domestic battery charge? Do you know?
It's the 26th.
26th of October?
Yes, ma'am.
Where? What court is that?
In Mississippi.
Okay. So she went, although y'all had broke up, what's she doing in Mississippi with y'all? She had put y'all out.
Ma'am?
Was she the girl y'all was living with that put y'all out because of the
No,
gambling?
we were staying with my brother girlfriend.
Oh, so your girlfriend went with you to Mississippi?
No, she was staying in Mississippi, but the only reason she was coming over there staying with us here and there was because of me. She also had a house in Mississippi the whole time.
Oh, okay. So you could have stayed with her.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You could have got a transfer, or you could have stayed with your mother in Mississippi. Your mother got a house, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
I was just trying to get some clarity. That's all I had, Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions? Anything you'd like to say, Mr. Whitehead, before we vote?
I would like to understand. I'll let you know. I said everything to the full extent or whatever, and nothing I was doing. Like I wasn't trying to be mischievous. Really, just scared because I got all this time over my head. It's like I know if I really have a chance, I promise I can show y'all I can be a law-abiding citizen, whatever, you know. I promise I can, and I really do need a chance. Like I really need to be in my son's life. I really do. Like if I was to go to jail right now, I have to do another 5 years. He'll be a young man, you know, and it's really taking a lot of toll on me. That's what I want to do, to be there for my son. Like I know I messed up to a point where it's ridiculous. I belittle myself out there and everything, but like if I was to have a chance, I got a support system and people that's standing behind me, you know, I'll be successful to be the parolee I need to be, you know.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead, you know, I've read the police report. There was an independent witness that saw what happened, saw her running, saw you chasing her. You pled guilty to all of these charges at your preliminary examination, but today you wanted to plead guilty, not guilty to several of them. I find that you have violated all of the conditions as outlined here, and it's my vote to revoke you. Mr. Roche?
Mr. Whitehead, you left the state of Louisiana without an approved ICOT or a travel permit. Therefore, I find you guilty of violating conditions number 3, 6, and 10 of your supervision contract. Therefore, I'm revoking your supervision.
And Mr. Whitehead, I've already explained to you what you need to do going forward, but my vote is the same, to revoke for the reasons already been stated on the record.
Good luck to you, Mr. Whitehead. Your parole has been revoked.
May I ask a question?
You may. I don't know if I can answer it.
By my parole being revoked, that's giving me all my time back.
I don't know the answer to that.
No.
Probably not. I'm hearing the answer no from some of our staff.
But we don't calculate time. We don't
calculate time. That's
so
between you and the Department of
Yeah.
Corrections.
and they'll get with you.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know how much time he's backing in. I really don't have any additional information to share, but again, it's the emphasis on how much time this guy's gotten. Hasn't hurt children, hasn't, you know, of course, what he did to his girlfriend is terrible. And frankly, I don't buy his story. And then they violated him for all these different reasons, but, you know, it seems he's institutionalized, and I don't really have the answer to it. But again, you give a 20-year sentence for someone which they get on the possession charges, and then now he got new charges. But it hurt a child, and just get a little, just a couple of years. What's the big deal, right? But I wanted to show this hearing. There are more, you know, I think, hearings that are even. There's the one that we had where it was a kid, like 19 years old, who broke into a concession stand and stole a soda, and the concession stand was empty. He stole a soda, and the judge gave him, I think it was 9 years. So there's Louisiana for you.
All right, please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
I'm Crosby, DOC number is 259200.
All right, you heard the introductions. We'll be your parole panel. Ask you some questions. You can respond. At the end, you can make a statement. We'll take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Donald Crosby, DOC number 259200, 7th class offender. Parole eligibility date 5/12/2022, full term 5/18/2031. You're a 12-year sentence. Legal possession of stolen things, simple burglary, legal possession of stolen things. And you were sentenced, what I tell you were sentenced to 12 years?
Yes, sir.
12, that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Crosby, 7th offender, you know the routine. How long you been down this time?
3 years, sir.
How old are you?
I'm 55, about to be 56, September 1st.
Why are you doing all the legal possession of stolen things? What's going on? Drugs, alcohol, what's that?
Just making bad choices, sir. Hanging with the wrong people, wrong crowds, you know. Grew up as a commercial fisherman down there in Venice, and you just get with the wrong crowds and start making bad choices. And thank God I did, they sent me to Plaquemines through the reentry program. Now they have these rehabilitation classes. And I've done 8 months of these classes. And the best one is the MRT class, moral recognition therapy class. Really makes you evaluate your life and the way you've been making choices and decisions, and shines a new light on you, and just makes you want to change your way of thinking. And I'm glad they got these classes. I wish they'd had these classes years ago. And I wish they had them in every prison. And I did 8 months of these classes, and it means a lot. It really means a lot. And I think it's helping a lot of inmates that really want to change. And I would advise any inmate to try to get into these classes. It sure changed my way of thinking.
Well, good. Sounds like you're working in the right direction. I always wonder, sound like you're a smart guy. I always wonder, because we hear it all the time, that everybody tells us that the reason they do what they do is because they had wrong people, wrong places, bad people, bad time, you the wrong folks, hanging around bad folks. What if you ever, you've been to those classes, what if you ever looked at yourself and thought you might be the bad folk?
Yes, sir. I was.
People might be hanging around you and might be saying, look, when they,
there was a point in time when I was, and I don't want to be that person no more. I don't have to be that person no more. I know I'm better than that. I can make better choices and wiser decisions. And I just need to analyze my choices and decisions before I make them. Don't make snap decisions, and just do that on a daily basis and use the set of skills and the tools these classes have taught me. And I know I can do better than that. My mama taught me better than that. I know this. I'm embarrassed to be
using drugs. Were you using drugs?
No, sir. I never did like drugs, and I just don't like drinking. Feels like being seasick.
So why were you doing it, all that stuff?
Doing it for the money and hanging with the wrong crowds and wrong crowds and just making bad choices. Very stupid choices, trying to act like a young man. I'm not a young man. I got 7 grandkids. I got a family that loves me very much, and I feel horrible. I let them down. I got a sister that just brought my oldest brother home that's half paralyzed that she needs help with so bad, and I'm ashamed of myself being in here.
Your rap sheet's not good either. You got some old domestic abuse, battery, false imprisonment. You got arrested for things like that. Yeah. You got some possession charge. You got a lot, but it sounds like you're taking classes, man. It sounds like you're taking classes.
I did take the anger management class, and
listen, I got you. Sound like you're doing good. Sound like you're in the right spot.
I did the anger management class. I wish I'd have did anger management years ago.
It helped you out, right?
Yes,
listen,
sir.
What I'm gonna tell you is that you're gonna get out here shortly. So it sounds like you're at the right spot, the right place. You got poor supervision. You got some bad. Your rap sheet. You got a high tiger. I'm probably not gonna be able to support you today, but it looks like you're gonna be out for Christmas. So, look, you have anything you want to say?
I would like to say I wish you grant me parole. To go home and change my life. I've been in work release for 7 months, holding down a job on the street.
What you doing in work release? What you doing?
I work at Venezia Restaurant on Carrollton.
Oh, at Venezia, they make good pizza, right? Good pizza and pasta.
Yes, sir. I've been working there.
Pizza around. I guarantee that's good. That's right. Well, look,
7 months.
I'm gonna vote to deny you today just because you're a seventh offender. You're doing good where you are. You need to keep working at Venezia. You got law enforcement opposition. You got a high tiger, and you got and you proximity good time. So look, you're doing great. Keep your head up. Go work at Venezia. And my vote's to deny. Ms. Renata.
Mr. Crosby, I enjoyed listening to hearing what you had to say about all the programs. And we also wish they were everywhere. But I'm glad you had the opportunity to take advantage of that. My vote today is also to deny based on your record. It sounds like you got some good direction now. I'm pleased to hear it. Good luck to you, sir.
Ms. Wise.
Sir, I'll tell you what, if the Department of Health needs somebody to do a commercial on their programs, we need to get you. You did an excellent job, excellent. But today, it's not really take a chance on you. The good time date is coming up and living more time doing the right thing. My vote is to deny as well. The reason stated.
3 votes to deny. Your pro's been denied. Good luck to you. It's 11:43.
Well, that must have been one of the faster parole hearings we've had. I don't know if they were just humoring him or if they fought into it. I didn't buy into it per second. Call me cynical. I don't believe that man is being honest about being sober and never touching drug or alcohol. I just don't. And I don't know if they're like, if they're really just humoring him or not. I mean, come on. You have all of those arrests and all of those locked up. And I mean, and he's like, no, I've never done anything. And I wish I had these programs. It's like, Mr. Kelsey is a funny guy. I really don't enjoy him for parole hearings because of the way he treats like the victims, survivors. But for revocation hearings and kind of like these type of hearings, he's quite a funny guy. Oh yeah, that pizza place is great. That's the best pizza. He's just like, man. The physical therapist, which is what he is when he's not doing this, which is funny in itself. I personally don't buy it. You know, if you're really sober and you don't touch it because it makes you feel seasick, and you're still finding your ways in prison, hanging around the wrong crowd, I think they were mocking him. Not like in a rude way, but just an, okay, you want to play that game? Sure, we'll congratulate you. You're doing great. But I don't know. He's anyways, this hearing did take place a year ago, and he is out, but we haven't seen him back yet. We can go to the next hearing.
Gilcrease 727-944. A first class offender, indecent behavior with a juvenile, serving 12 years and 6 months. His parole date was August 28, 2019. He is not eligible for good time. His full term date is December 29, 2027. Does that sound correct, Mr. Gilcrease?
Yes, sir.
Please answer Mr. Kelsey's questions.
Mr. Gilcrease, how old are you?
63,
How long have you been incarcerated?
5 years,
How many?
5.
And you pled to these charges?
Sorry?
You pled to the charges?
Plead guilty. Yes.
Tell me about your crime. Tell me about it.
I did wrong. I shouldn't have did what I did.
And those are your grandchildren?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry for what I done. I should have never did what I did.
Were you drinking or doing drugs or what's happening?
No, sir, I wasn't on anything. I don't know why I did it. I just wish I would have never done it.
Yeah, that's the right statement. Have you taken any sexual offender treatment?
No, I'm doing some classes.
What, have you,
That's what he's asking you. You're in the
Yes.
sex offender treatment program. He's
Yes.
currently enrolled. Tell him that you're currently enrolled. What phase you're at.
I'm in phase 1.
phase 1 of sex offender treatment. Any other programs you've taken?
Yeah, I got certificates here.
You just tell me about it. You don't have to go over and just gotta tell me. If you did them, you ought to remember them. Tell me about a couple of them that meant something to you.
Well, I can't think of the name of them. I'm on a lot of Bible studies. I go to church a lot. And celebrate recovery, ANA,
Victim awareness.
So well, tell me if you were released early, what would you do? Where would you go and what would you do?
I called my pastor. He said I could stay with him. And he helped me get me a job and turn my life around. so I can do better when I'm do a whole lot better than what I've been doing.
And where is he today? Do you know where he is today?
He's in home, he's in Tioga. He's a preacher and a pastor, and he owns some trailers and stuff he tends to. And he told me
What area would that be? Where exactly would that be?
It's in Tioga.
Tioga.
Tioga? Okay.
Right there by Pineville.
Okay. So I didn't hear you. Do you have a GED, or did you finish high school, or did you drop out?
No, sir, I don't have no GED, anything like that.
How far did you go in high school?
I went to the 8th grade, and I really don't have but a portrait education, because when I was going to school, the teacher put me up.
Okay. Warden, you have any comments? Any information?
No, I can tell you that John Gilcrease is a little nervous today, Mr. Kelsey. You'll have to forgive him for that. He's real nervous about talking to y'all, but he's been here for about 2.5 years. He has participated in Celebrate Recovery. He goes to AANA classes. He's in phase 1 of the sex offender therapy programs. He has attended victim awareness, and he does go to church a lot, Bible studies and other things like he's talking about. He hasn't had any disciplinary problems. He's very respectful to our staff. He's a model prisoner here at this institution. We haven't had any problems with him whatsoever. And he does participate in programs, so I can't say anything negative about John, other than he's very nervous today. He's very nervous talking to y'all, but he does fine here at this institution. We haven't had any problems with him.
All right, thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Kelsey. Mrs. Wise?
Sir, in reading the file, you indicated that it was your grandchildren. The report indicates that they were the children of the sitter for your son.
My son.
They're not? Oh, they are your grandchildren? Your granddaughters?
Just from my wife's daughter. Okay, they're my step grandbaby.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was correct and you weren't just answering because you were nervous. Okay, that's all I had, Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mrs. Wise. Mr. Gilcrease, what would you like us to know before we vote?
Make your statement now. Just tell them whatever you want them to know about you and about how emotional you are, those type of things that you talked to me about.
Well, if y'all let me, let me go free or whatever, I promise that what I've done is I'll never do it again. I shouldn't have did what I did. I'm very sorry for everything I've done to the victim and everything. And if I ever see anybody or hear anybody do the type of thing I've done or anything such as that, I will turn them in no matter what. But I don't think it's right, but I'm saying it even for myself. I don't think we're right of what I've done to anybody do anything like that. I think it's wrong. And I pray to God and ask God to forgive me. And I know He has. And I'm praying to God now that y'all forgive me for what I've done.
Thank you, Mr. Gilcrease. May I ask you, did anyone ever do anything like that to you when you were young?
No, sir.
All right. Is the panel prepared to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Kelsey?
Mr. Gilcrease, I appreciate the fact that you're doing well where you are in the environment and doing some things. That's good. Good discipline. Those are all important and critical. But I can't support you today unless you complete all your sex offender treatment. That's something that seems like you're working on now. You completed phase 1. You'll need to complete the next couple phases. But it sounds like you're in a good spot. You're doing the right thing. I would encourage you to keep working hard, do what you need to do. But I'm going to vote to deny your parole today due to the fact you hadn't completed all sex offender treatment, plus you have victim and law enforcement opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Kelsey. Mrs. Wise?
Mr. Gilcrease, I commend you for the statements that you've made and how you thought about this situation and what has transpired. But I concur with my colleague. My vote is to deny for the reasons already stated. You do have law enforcement opposition as well as victim opposition.
Thank you, Mrs. Wise. Mr. Gilcrease, I agree with my colleagues. My vote is to deny your parole. It is rare for this board to approve, to grant parole to an inmate who has not completed sex offender treatment. So I would strongly encourage you to stick with it and complete that, whatever programs you can do, and maybe it'll be different next time. So good luck to you. Your parole today has been denied. It is 9:54.
I really don't have much to add to this. Richard did share a link where it shows that he, at the time was 58 years old when people reported him to police, that there was evidence that he was doing stuff to two small children, which turns out to be his I guess, step grandchildren. And he says in his hearing, I've learned if I ever see it again, I would turn them in. I would, it's like these roaches, these monsters, they exist, and it's like no matter how many programs you give them, it's not going to make a difference. And he got a 12-year plea deal. He's still in, but he's going to get out soon. This hearing that we just watched took place in 2020. So we may see him coming up sometime soon for a parole hearing, but I don't have any other details on it, and I'm sorry about that. There's nothing else out there. That all you can need to know is that it's probably as bad as all the other cases that we've seen. That people they marry into families so they can have access to children or to their grandchildren, and that is so dangerous. And it's on us to protect our children and our grandchildren. And if there ever is someone that comes into our lives, it's only your children have to come first. You can't take the coin flip. And seeing how often we see this over and over and over and over again, hopefully, if anything, this can help bring a light bulb moment to people who haven't thought about it and are maybe just more trusting than sadly we should be. I don't know what else to say to this. The assistant DA should show up. They never do, but they should, to at least emphasize on how bad these crimes are. But here it is. If you didn't see it, you might not believe it.
593830.
Okay, you are a second offender, second-degree cruelty to juveniles. Possession of cocaine, possession of oxycodone, possession of methamphetamines, possession of heroin, a negligent homicide to a victim under 10. You were sentenced on 12/15/2015. You were sentenced to 5 years, 5 years, 5 years, 5 years, 5 years, and 10 years with second offender concurrent. Your parole date is 10/24/2020. Good time is 10/27/2024, and a full term of 10/22/2025. I see today your mother's here and will also give you a chance to speak. Today we'll be interviewing you with Mr. Alvin Roche, and also on the panel today is Mr. Tony Marabella and myself, Jim Wise. I'll be chairing. At this time, Mr. Roche will be asking you some questions. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Harris, good morning.
Good morning.
Before we start, I want to tell you that how terribly sorry I am about your loss. And I want to convey that to the grandmothers also. It's unfortunate, but you have my sympathy. Okay, now, Ms. Harris, you're 32 years old, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've been incarcerated for 5 years on a 10-year sentence.
Yes, sir.
So you've served about 50% of your sentence. And this is your second felony conviction. What was the first felony conviction?
It was drug charges. I think a couple of possessions. I don't really remember. I know it was possession of some pills.
But most of your 14 arrests were for drugs, right?
Yes, sir.
And your family was helping you with your son. And that particular day, your son happened to be with you, and things happened. And I've read everything, and I understand. So let's talk about, first of all, your substance abuse treatment. Tell me what kind of substance abuse treatment you received in the last 5 years.
I have completed Mr. Lewis's long-term treatment. It was a really good class. That class really helped me. I've also did Celebrate Recovery. See with that Miss Banana, them drug classes. I've completed, not like really completed, but a little NA here. It's not consistent here, but a little NA classes here and there when they come. But other than that, like I've done everything that they offer.
After 5 years of incarcerations, how are your demons?
My demons are, I feel like I know they're always going to be there, but I have a hate for them out of this world because I lost something so precious to me and I can't stand it. And I just, like, people around me, I don't want it around me. I don't even want to go home to it. That's why I have a letter to go to Proverbs 31 with Miss Tina Bass. I plan on going there if I do get granted. I'm not going home to none of it. I know that I'm done. I can't do it anymore. If I do, I know I won't live through it.
Okay. What is your strategy? What strategy that you have in place right now that you will face the barriers and complications of your release? What kind of strategy do you have to control your urges for drugs?
I have a support system. I've been writing Miss Tina Bass and the girls in that house. I know that I'm gonna go to meetings 5 times a week. My Higher Power church. I plan on diving headfirst into that. I have a lot of plans. Like, I know that I got to get a sponsor. I know that I just have a real good support system behind me right now, and I know what I have to do if I feel like I want to use, or if I feel like it's too tough. I know that I have people on my side that I can call.
Okay. So you have the support of your mother and the other grandmother and members of your family. Do you know how fortunate you are that you've gotten forgiveness already?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the other programs that you've taken. I see where you've earned 400 hours of good time.
I have completed Living in Balance. I've completed Cage Your Rage. I've completed Parenting, Anger Management, Celebrate Recovery, Reentry, and Long-Term Substance Abuse. I am currently in, I have until December 2nd, actually my last class till I get my associate's degree. I'm in Ashland. for communication to go try to be a counselor. And I have actually completed my work. They won't open my file so before I can finish it. So I have to, if I do get granted, I can go to the library and just submit my work, and hopefully if the parole board will let me, I want to go walk in Ohio with the classes and graduate with my associate's degree.
Great. Now, I know your transition plan, you'll be at the Proverbs 31 house for 12 months. What do you plan to go after you leave the Proverbs house?
I don't plan to move far from around them because that's going to be my support system. I know that my mother is great. I know I have a good family, but I know what I have to do for me. And I know, I'm not saying that I'm not strong enough to go there because it's going to be wherever I go. I just know that I want to get away from that period. So I'm going to stay around West Monroe and get my own place. And even Miss Tina said, if I'm not ready in a year to leave, I don't have to leave. So it's up to me when I'm ready.
Now, sooner or later, you're going to have to support yourself. What is your means of support? Do you have any vocational skills?
I've always, that's why I'm working on my degree, because I really want to help people that are going through some of the similar situations as myself, as in with drug addictions. And
what is your field of study?
Associates in Communications of Arts. Like, I want to go be a counselor.
Okay. Ms. Bauer, do you have any comments?
Haley hadn't been a problem since she's been here. And again, Proverbs would be a good option for her also. It's a strict program, but Tina does support them well, and it is a good support system.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer.
Thank you.
I just have one last thing to cover, Ms. Harris. I think everyone concerned has forgiven you. I think it's about time that you forgive yourself. Simply because if you're gonna make it and stay away from drugs and other things that will get you in trouble, you have to forgive yourself and try to move forward in life and have a productive life and be a productive citizen. And in order to do that, you have to forgive yourself. Do you agree?
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I
Mr.
agree.
Watt?
I agree.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I've forgiven myself. I just still hurt. You know, I know that he was my motivation then, and he's definitely my motivation now. It took me a lot to forgive myself, but it's still a pain that I will live with every day.
And maybe that's the reminder you need to be successful in life.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wise.
Okay, at this time, Mr. Marabella.
Ms. Harris, Mr. Roche has covered most everything that I would have asked you, although I would like to follow up a little bit on your support. You talked about your meetings, you talked about getting a sponsor, you talked about your higher power. I assume that you're very familiar with the 12 steps?
Yes, sir.
And you realize how important that is for you to continue in your recovery?
Yes, sir.
How long do you think you're going to have to go to AA meetings?
It's going to be for the rest of my life, I'm sure.
All right, good.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Thank you very much. That's all I've got.
You know, as I go back over your arrest records, I I look back into the time you were a juvenile. It just kept going and kept going, and you knew something was going to happen one of these days. But as I look here, you were charged with child restoration back on 9/1/2015 by the Washington Parish Sheriff's Office. What was that for?
September 1st. What was it?
It was child restoration. And then back in 3/21/2016, you were charged with child restoration.
That is they didn't charge me at first. When my son died, they charged me with that. It was the misdemeanor because they didn't pick up the charges on me until way later. But that's what this is. That's what it's because of Braden. It was his death. In 2015, he died on August 30th. I was in a psych ward because I was trying to kill myself behind losing him, and they charged me on that 9/1/15, and then I bonded out on it, and then they turned around and charged me again with it, along with negligent homicide and all that.
All right, let me ask you something. Master prison record, and I may want to ask our office too. Master prison record says the second. As I'm looking back on some of your files here, and then the DA says it's a fourth. You're a fourth offender. But as I go back over some of your records there, they didn't multi-bill you on a lot of this stuff that happened at last.
No, sir. I've only been to prison one time, but I've been arrested. But a lot of my charges got dropped. They multi-billed me on the negligence, and when I pled, I was under the impression that I was only doing a single bill. I didn't know I was pleading to a double bill, but I got it. And I mean, I've made a few bad choices in my life.
But if they double billed you, then you, at this time, I'd like to go into executive session.
Second motion.
Mr. Wise,
Yes.
Mr. Marabella,
Yes.
Mr. Roche.
Yes.
That was a total wait of 5 minutes. Just wanted to let you guys know.
Okay, the panel is back with you today. No other questions there. At this time, Ms. Teresa Brown, the mother, would you like to speak? You got to unmute your mic, man, on her behalf.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Haley's mom. I love her to death, and I love my grandson, and he's missed every day. And this is very hard for me, but Haley has done exceptional up there in the 5 years that she's there, and I believe it has changed her for the better, and pray that she keeps on that track and stays up there and does good. I just want the best for her and hope that y'all can see that maybe she deserves this chance.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, Haley, is there anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
I had wrote a letter. The reason of why I should be given a second chance, the reason I believe I should be given another chance in society is because not only have I lost a child, but I learned a lesson. I chose drugs at one point of time over my children, and I lost something dear to me. While in prison, I took my pain and focused on the future of helping others that are going through some of the same things. I chose to complete every class they offered on top of getting my associate's degree in communications to be able to actually have the resources to get the opportunity to help other mothers or children going through similar situations. On August 30th, 2015, my life changed. I lost something dear to me that ended me here in prison. However, I'm thankful for the lesson learned because this place has changed my life dearly. I'm ready to take the experiences I have learned to help save lives so they don't have to come here. The classes here are really helpful, from parenting to substance abuse. The thing that means the most is the lesson of losing my pride and joy to have to open my eyes and grow a hate for drugs out of this world. I believe I am ready to go back into society and deal with my pain accordingly with my family and support system. If y'all will grant me this opportunity to go be a better mother to the son I do have left, I will show that I'm not just another statistic. I've heard enough. Being here is holding me back from being what I want to be in life. I've changed and I'm ready to show how much Braden was my motivation then and now. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, Mr. Roche will be voting. Your mic's muted.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Ms. Harris.
Yes, sir.
Based on excellent programming, Celebrate Recovery, substance abuse, and a positive remarks by Mrs. Bauer, no disciplinary issues since you've been incarcerated. My vote is to grant your request. And that grant is to the Proverbs 31 halfway house in Monroe, Louisiana. After release, you'll have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. You are to attend at least 3 NAAA meetings a week. You are to do 16 hours of community service every quarter, which is 4 hours a month. You are to have random drug screens at the discretion of your parole officer, and you are to follow all recommendations of the substance abuse treatment that you got at your present location. Ms. Harris, good luck, and I wish the best for you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Marabella?
Ms. Harris, in listening to you and listening to Mr. Roche question you and your answers to some of my questions, it's obvious to me that you recognize and accept your disease for what it is. You've embraced AA, which I think is critically important. You have done some very good programs and you've got a great transition plan. I'm going to vote as well to grant your parole with the same conditions as outlined by Mr. Roche.
Thank you, sir.
At this time, you have 2 votes. Today, I'm going to be voting to grant you parole on the same order today and the same conditions. Today, you've been granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Well, you tell me, is 5 years enough for, it seemed that we don't have the details, but it seems that she neglected her child to go off on a binge and through her actions, the child didn't make it. And, you know, it was interesting to see how Mr. Roche and others approached it, understanding that she's going through, that she's regrets it more than anyone else. But I do wonder if sentence would have been different if it was a father that had done that versus a mother. Those things I do wonder. Now, Richard shared, we don't have details on the crime. You would think this is something that would make the news, but, you know, it's just a child. But, I mean, she's no spring chicken. I mean, convicted felon, possession of a firearm, possession of CDs with weapon present. I guess that's children. I don't know. Possession of schedule, intent to distribute, violation, then child desertion, distribution of schedule, second-degree cruelty, and then homicide negligent. I just feel pain about this one little baby. And you can see she has another son that her grandparents are taking care of. And you almost wonder, is she going to be allowed to? But, you know, this is not, this one is just, it's just sad. I hope we don't see her again. You think 5 years is enough? You think she should have served more time? But she is lucky she has family that loves her. Anyways.